Welcome, everyone. Today we're diving into the intricate world of blended families, focusing on how different parenting styles can affect the dynamics at home.
I'm excited to get into this discussion. Blended families really come with their own set of challenges, don't they?
Absolutely, especially since in these families, you're combining not only households, but different approaches to raising kids.
Right, like when one parent brings along a set of established rules while the other might have a more flexible style.
Exactly. And that's where conflicts can arise. For instance, sometimes one parent, say someone with a more authoritarian, almost military approach, might expect strict obedience.
Yep, I get
Meanwhile,
that.
the other might lean in a permissive direction, perhaps feeling guilty about past relationships.
So it's like you've got these two very contrasting expectations at the same table.
Yes, and one case that really highlights this is about a couple, Rick and Claire. Rick, who's used to a rigid structure, demands obedience from his daughter and his stepchildren, while Claire, being more lenient, believes in giving the kids a softer, more understanding approach.
That sounds like a recipe for tension. And that tension isn't only between them, right? Their ex-partners also get drawn into the mix, causing even more, communication breakdowns.
Exactly. The co-parenting challenges really add fuel to the fire. Text messages turning into heated disputes and the kids getting caught in the crossfire. It just complicates things further.
Absolutely, it sounds really messy. So, in these settings, understanding the different parenting styles becomes critical. Could you walk us through those styles briefly?
Sure. According to Diana Baumrind, there are 4 main styles. First, we have the authoritative parent, the tender teacher who is both warm and firm.
Yep,
Then
that's
there's the
balanced one.
authoritarian parent, who's all about rigid rules and obedience but with little emotional support.
And then, of course, we have the permissive parent, who's very warm but doesn't really enforce limits.
Right. And the 4th one is the uninvolved parent, who's pretty much either physically present or emotionally distant, which can lead to some pretty serious consequences for the kids' self-esteem and social skills.
That's the one you really want to avoid. It's like each style sets a different stage for how kids learn to handle authority and life challenges.
Exactly. And when you mix these styles in a blended family, the clash of expectations can be overwhelming. For instance, Rick's military-style discipline versus Claire's more lenient method can leave children feeling, very confused about what's expected of them.
That would definitely create a difficult environment for the kids. So, what are some ways they, or families in this situation, can navigate through these differences?
One key strategy is having an open dialogue about parenting styles right from the outset. It's like, sitting down and really discussing what each of you values in discipline, routines, and setting limits.
Right? And that dialogue can build a bridge between different worlds. And I assume that means agreeing on some common rules and shared expectations, right?
Exactly. For example, setting clear rules for things like bedtimes, homework expectations, and even chores is essential. If one parent enforces a 9 p.m. lights out and the other is okay with 10 p.m., a compromise might be, say, 9:30 p.m. for everyone.
That's a nice middle ground. It sounds like creating these consistent guidelines helps in presenting a united front.
Yes, a united front goes a long way in reducing the confusion for the kids. Plus, it's also important to set boundaries with ex-partners. For instance, agreeing to use texts just for logistics, like confirming drop-offs or appointments, to avoid heated debates in front of the children.
That's a very smart approach, definitely. Speaking of boundaries, don't you think it might sometimes be overly idealistic to expect all parties to neatly agree on these rules?
That's a fair point, and it does require a lot of work and cooperation. However, it's about striving for a stable and predictable environment. Even if the process is challenging at first, these guidelines can over time help ease the tensions between parents, step-parents, and even ex-partners.
Yeah, I see that. Consistency can really make a difference. And what about the role of the step-parents? There seems to be this delicate balance between gaining authority and establishing trust.
Absolutely, and research by Patricia L. Papernow emphasizes that step-parents need to build a connection with their stepchildren before stepping in with discipline. It's like, you can't just jump to enforcing rules, you need to, earn that trust first.
That gradual approach makes a lot of sense. It does seem like in many cases the step-parent's role as a disciplinarian is, not as straightforward as simply applying strict measures.
Exactly. Initially, it's all about creating that bond. Once that connection and trust are established, the step-parent can slowly take on a more authoritative disciplinary role in a way that the children respond to positively.
Right, it's a process that takes time. And this us against the problem mindset really seems vital. Would you agree?
Definitely. When couples see themselves as a united team tackling the difficulties rather than being at odds with each other, it sets the stage for a healthier family dynamic. It's like, navigating a tough river together rather than drifting apart in different directions.
Yup, teamwork really makes the dream work. This idea of building a strong foundation is, really heartening to hear, especially considering how sensitive these dynamics can be.
For sure. And speaking of foundations, there are also some research-based tools and programs available that can support families through these challenges, like, for instance, the Gottman Relationship Advisor and Gottman Relationship Coach.
Yeah, those are well-known resources. How do these programs work in practically helping blended families?
They are designed to, provide a structured approach to building communication skills and setting shared guidelines. You know, these tools help couples understand areas of strength and areas to improve, sometimes offering step-by-step approaches that are rooted in solid research.
A research-based method really adds credibility. It's interesting how these tools not only address couple dynamics, but also the wider family structure.
Right. They encompass strategies to manage conflict, support open lines of communication, and even offer ways to collaborate with ex-partners in a non-confrontational way. This holistic approach is key in blended family settings.
Absolutely. That holistic method seems essential when so many players are involved. Now, if we think about Rick and Claire again, what would you say was the turning point for them?
Well, once they identified their individual parenting styles, acknowledging Rick's authoritarian roots and Claire's permissiveness, they began to set realistic goals together. They agreed, for example, not to criticize one another in front of the kids, and even brought in their ex-partners to agree on communication guidelines.
That's impressive, turning a challenge into a chance for growth. It's a delicate balance, though. I wonder if sometimes one partner might feel like they're compromising too much of their core values.
That can definitely be a concern, and it calls for a lot of empathy and patience. You've got to, really be open to understanding where your partner is coming from. And that's why these in-depth discussions are so vital.
Right, mutual respect is the cornerstone here. So essentially, by fostering direct communication, setting clear rules, and teaming up with professional tools when needed, blended families can chip away at those conflicts.
Exactly. It's a process of continuous adjustment, building trust slowly and recognizing that every family member's feelings are valid. Over time, these measures pave the way for stronger bonds and a more harmonious home.
It really shows that a united effort is key. And ultimately, while it may not be a one-size-fits-all solution, this roadmap of empathy, communication, and shared boundaries really seems to offer practical steps for any blended family struggling with diverse parenting styles.
Absolutely. Every blended family's situation is unique. But having a framework, like understanding parenting styles and using research-based methods, can make all the difference.
Definitely, every step counts. Thanks for the enlightening discussion. It's heartening to know that with patience and commitment, families can navigate these challenges successfully.
Thanks for listening, and remember, it's a journey of blending love, respect, and open communication, one that takes time but can lead to a truly supportive family environment.